minutes later today. Just my tablet with YouTube just seems to go funny when I want to put it in the horizontal. I'm not sure if anyone could hear me before. But anyway, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, everyone.
There's Graham over there in the background. I'll give you a little look. What's he doing? We're not too sure.
Building more score reels.
Oh, there he is over there. He's rebuilding some score reels. Keeping him busy. So we've got a game, a Williams game here. We'll talk about that in a minute. Always fun doing the score reels. He gets all the good luck.
Yeah. Well, just like I've got so many to do.
Keeps you in practice.
Yeah.
We've been busy earlier on making a video which we'll release in the next 24 hours or so, hopefully. And that's concerning this Williams player unit that we've been doing. Can't quite see it now. We've turned the game around, but it's the player unit on a bit of an angle over here. We've refurbished that, but we're not 100% happy with it.
Needs a few adjustments.
Just needs a couple more adjustments on it. Okay, we've had a couple of U of M hockey. Hello from Michigan. Hi, how you going? So in Michigan, it'll be what's that? Is that Midwest time? Is it only 8 o'clock? Sorry, is it only 4 o'clock in the afternoon over there, or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever it is? All right. Well, today here in Australia, it's Saturday, the 5th of April, 2025. It's it's 6 minutes past 9. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, of course. 4 time zones in the United States. It gets a bit confusing. 6 p.m. Yes. So same as New York and Pennsylvania and everything. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because our daylight saving ends here tonight or tomorrow morning, 3 p.m. in the morning, Sunday morning, and I think your daylight saving maybe started over there. I know there's a big time. It alters things for us here anyway. I get it all worked out when I'm over in America, and then I sort of forget all about it. It's incredible to think that it's 2025, or it is for me anyway. Time just goes so fast, you know. We started back 6th of January. Here we are. It's the 5th of April. We've been back at work 3 months. We've achieved a reasonable amount in that 3 months.
We've been knocking them out.
Yeah, we've knocked over a Close Encounters, Casanova, a Jungle Princess, a Kingpin, a Top Card, and a Golden Arrow. And probably while we're running this video a little later on, Graham will have to go out. There's the Golden Arrow still there behind my shoulder. The people were supposed to come and get it last weekend, but something in their family occurred and they couldn't get up, and they had to go interstate, and they're back now and they'll be around this morning to pick that up. We've been playing that and it's all good to go. So yeah, we've knocked over that amount of machines. We've just commenced last week. We've started on a couple of other machines. We'll talk about that in a moment. And just yesterday we started on this Williams Fantastic. We've still got a Kingpin, a Jungle Queen, a Bronco, and an Ice Show and a Card Whiz to do. The Ice Show and Card Whiz were left over from last year. Now, as I said, machines and us, we're all getting older. Way back in 1962, just yesterday, I played my first game of pinball. Oh, well, actually, I played it in 1963. So I was about 9 or 10 year old. You walk past this shop in the neighbourhood I lived in, and you could hear this ding, 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 ding. It was sort of mesmerising to a 10-year-old kid, you know, and in you walked and there's these pinball machines. And as I said, this is 1963. One of those pinball machines was Tropic Isle. or we used to call it the monkey machine. And oddly enough, you didn't learn till, 50 odd years later that the monkey machine actually was supposed to be called Monkey Shines. But at the time, David Gottlieb reviewed the name of the game and suggested that it may be an inappropriate name in 1963 to call it that. So Tropic Isle it became with the palm tree, and the monkeys go up, and we'd go down to the local public swimming pool to swim, and on the way down we'd walk past that store, go in and have a look and see where the monkeys were up to. And if only one monkey was up the tree, or only halfway up the tree even, you'd go back about 3 hours later after you'd had your fun at the pool, come back, and we used to call it sixpence or a zack. You guys in America call it a nickel. We'd put our nickel in, and we might win a free game, or the monkey might have got to the top of the tree, someone won one free game. But we wanted the holy grail, the 3 replays with 3 monkeys up the tree. So we were pretty good players, so we played that and got the monkeys up the tree. Great times, great memories.
Still good times.
You probably are, yeah. The only sad thing about that is the guy that I used to play pinball with, he died 2 years ago, just under 2 years ago, which was very sad. But anyway, life goes on. Now, I've spoken about this before. I've spoken about it in Chicago last year, and one, I just want to keep reminding people what we need to do. We need to introduce more younger people to this hobby. We have to keep it going, because we need them to learn how to fix these games. Look at the complexity of that, those wires and everything. And as a lot of us know, it looks complicated, but it is complicated too. But often a problem is easy to fix, because it's generally only 1 or 2 areas it can be in. So by introducing younger people, I believe, is the way for electromechanical pinball to move on. I don't think as a lot of us are getting older, and particularly a lot of the people that I interact with almost every week in the United States and Canada, people are just growing old. And, none of us know how long we're going to be here for. That's not a guaranteed thing. And perhaps maybe we can, hope that we keep this hobby alive long after we're all gone. So bear that in mind. At the moment, where's everyone else from? We've had one guy say hello. Anyone else there that we know? Is Paul Crawsack there yet? He wanted to see about our cradle. I remember rightly, Paul, if you're there. Just talking about jobs that we're doing. Fantastic. This turned up just before Christmas, the week before Christmas. Had it on his pickup truck and wanted to drop it off, and we said, hey, we haven't got any room for it. So we called him up the other day, and he was elated to be able to bring it round. So I'm sure that we'll get this happening. A fair bit of work in it. The head is the worst because we've got all the score reels. Score reels are pretty dirty. Graham's been cleaning up. What have you been using to clean those reels with? Oh,
A little bit of everything. Like, actually, the Royals were pretty good, and they actually come off with a bit of Windex. So,
right.
And actually, I was using just the remnants of my cup of tea to start with, and that was pretty good.
Okay.
It was a little bit warm.
You just got to be careful with these. You just got to try them in an inconspicuous place to make sure the paint's not going to rub off.
Sometimes you get them and they've been sitting out the front shop window with the sun directly on the score reels, and that's why they bugger up.
Well, people use stale bread to clean up. There's all sorts of tricks and traps.
I've tried that. I didn't get much on it.
Oh, did you? Right,
Yeah.
All right. So this game's now underway, but what we're going to have to do when we've finished this head box, we're just going to have to put it away, wrap it up in a bit of bubble wrap or plastic or something to keep it clean, and we're going to have to get stuck back into Ice Show, Gottlieb's Ice Show.
Yeah.
Now, just Thursday, just gone, we received Ice Show's cabinet back. It got sent away for refurbishment. A new base, I think, went in it. What else?
I've had a new back. new back of the cabinet,
Right.
new floor, new back.
On the head, the neck.
No, the neck was all right.
Oh.
But every bit on it, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The neck was the base of the neck had snapped straight off.
Straight off. Now, this is a game that the guy transported on the back of his pickup truck with the head on it and travelled up an interstate. And guess what happened? The wind
Just ripped it straight off.
ripped it straight. He's dead lucky the back glass didn't break because he's got a really nice back glass. So there's a lesson in life, people. Do not transport these games like that with the head on. You have to remove it. It's only 4 bolts and generally 3 plugs.
Especially in an open pickup.
Yeah. Who we got? Hello, Patrick. Hello. I love your videos. I'm 53. I love pinball and I have watched a ton of your videos. I admire the quality of your work.
Thanks, mate.
You do, and hope to do as well myself. Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you, Patrick. Yeah, look, we've spoken about this many, many times. I'm 71. I'll be 72 this year. And when I was a typewriter mechanic, if you didn't do something right that the tradesperson didn't like or told you the way to do it, and you didn't do it and you didn't clean it as you were shown, you got to kick up the bum or a slap across the head. And I think when you're a young fella, that remains with you for your whole life. And that's where my philosophy comes from. Do it once, do it right. And I can't remember if I told people this little story. When I was an apprentice, I had a guy who was teaching me typewriters, and I'd changed companies. I'd come back from living in Sydney, as working at Remington, and I went to work for a company called Els. Oh, Mitch, hi Mitch, how are you? He says, hi Kim and Graham, listening from good old Warhope. So for you people that are trying to pronounce W-A-C-H-O-P-E, a lot of people call it Warchoppy.
Warchoppy.
Warchoppy, it's Warhope. It's just an inland town off the coast, north coast of New South Wales.
It's a timber town.
Off Port Macquarie, it is a timber town.
Yep.
Yeah, they had a place out there called Timber Town. Not sure if it's open anymore. Anyway, Patrick, what I was trying to allude to was the fact that we used to fix Hermes typewriters. Hermes are a Swiss typewriter. Very precise, as you can imagine, Swiss watches, etc., etc. Anyway, there was an adjustment, and these things had an escapement whirling like a stepper. There was an adjustment which you had to use a pair of calipers to adjust the where the tooth of the escapement wheel protruded in relation to the base of the frame. And if you didn't get that right, your escapement wouldn't work right. So the guy said, here you go, I'll show you how to do it. Blah, 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 can you do that? Yeah, I understand perfectly. I'd done all the adjustments perfectly, but it wouldn't work. I'd done it again. And he said, are you sure you've got everything right? Everything. What I didn't realise, the guy was handing me the calipers, and being Swiss, they were metric, and we were used to imperial. He gave me an imperial set of calipers, and I buggered it up. I got a whack across the head, kick up the arse, and he never done that. I never did that again. So yeah, that's where it all comes from, and you've got to have pride in your work. So you have a friend who lives in Perth. Well, I've never been in Perth. That's on the west side of Australia. Graham's been to Perth. He had a mate over there.
Been there many times.
Guy's dead now, so he doesn't drink with him anymore for some unknown reason.
Yeah.
What's his name? Flinny.
Yeah, Mickey Flynn.
Yeah, Mickey Flynn. Yeah, so I've been to Ohio. Yes, I've been to where is it that my friend owns a house? Euclid. Been to where else have we been? What's the main? We were going to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame there in the big city. Can't remember at the moment. But yeah. Anyway, getting back to Ice Show, the cabinet's back. We've done. What have we done? We've done the head on that, haven't we, Graham?
We've done everything.
We've done everything?
Yep, it's all ready to go.
So okay, so we've got to start putting that back together. So that'll be great. I managed to acquire a schematic for that the other day, and I've had it printed out on A1 paper so we can read it, and we'll be getting into that, so we'll probably do a video on that. The other game that we did the head on just this week was Majorettes. We did a video on that, showing you the ball count unit and how it works on a 60s game. the way Gottlieb did the ball, or they call it, what do they call it? Not ball count unit, they call it balls to play unit. We haven't had a lot of interest in that video, so I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, out of ball.
that's life. But anyway, if you haven't seen it, have a look. It's only about a 20-minute video. Have a look. And one of our most popular videos we've done so far this year has been the one on how to diagnose a circuit by using the alligator jumper clip method. We did that video. Just go back about 3 or 4 videos and have a look at that. We will have majorettes will be done by hopefully the end of September. When the carpenter brought back the ice show cabinet last Thursday, he picked up the majorettes cabinet, which needs a bit of work. It's going to have a front face here on the head box because it's chipped away. You know, they just put that bit of ply on them.
Replace the back of the cabinet in the floor.
Yeah, that'll all get done. So when we get that back, we've done the head, as I said. We didn't find a lot wrong with that, but the stepper unit was, the ball to play unit was a bit dodgy, so that's all good. And
still a lot of work to go on it.
Then what we'll do, we'll be able to put all the bits back in the cabinet and the ball elevator and everything like that and assemble it all up. And then get it up to a point where we'll troubleshoot. So that really should be the ice show, should be the next machine that we complete. And this majorettes will get done progressively. So we've just sent the owner a list of parts that he has to buy. And he unfortunately hasn't got any of the pop bumper caps. Now they're a PBR special item, you know, they had them specially made. So they're $12 each. So there's $120 for us, which is probably about well over $200, 220, 230 even, Australian dollars, but he's got to have them. So he's got a lot of parts to buy. We only sent him that list yesterday. I guess it's like anything, he wants it looking nice, but he doesn't want to spend the money, but you know, that's what's got to happen, unfortunately. So getting back to this fantastic, I think I mentioned it, we're in the middle of doing a video on the player unit, and we'll probably do one on the coin unit and ball count unit when we get the motorboard out. We'll do them together. On a Williams and a Bally game, they're totally different with their player units than Gottlieb. And what that is that Gottlieb's player unit incorporates the ball count in that unit, where Williams and Bally, they don't. They still use a separate ball count unit. So on their motorboard, on the bottom board, there's always 2 other steppers on the multiplayer games. One's a coin unit and the other's a ball count unit. And the Williams ball count units have got coin units have got a particularly nasty habit of the end of stroke switch getting on the wrong side of the peg. So in other words, you can only play one game. It won't allow you to add the extra credits to play a 4-player game. So we're going to illustrate that when we do it. It's a fairly simple fix.
It's a fairly common problem.
It does seem to happen a lot. I don't know. I don't know if we've ever figured out why. I saw one guy went to a great length a while ago to make a mod so it couldn't happen. I just think it must be overstepping of the stepper or something. I'm going to have a bit of a close look at that. And that's right, we were talking about the other games we've got to do, and our apprentice, what's his name, Kyle, who we've hardly seen this year because he's been doing up a home that he owns for rental. He's got a friend who wants a bit of triple action game.
Wants that
Williams triple action, that's it, yeah. Wants a bit of triple action, that's interesting. So yeah, we got that to do. So we've still got a ton of work to do, but we're not in a hurry. We just take our time. And as
we still knock them out pretty quick.
As we've said before, if we get a problem, we'll walk away from it. We can't fix everything. We get stuck. We'll walk away from that problem and come back the next day or even a few days later. Another thing that we're going to be talking about over the coming weeks, I don't know how many of you out there watch or participate in the Mark Gibson's Fun with Pinball clinics. Anyone out there that does that or have ever done it? Okay, well, they happen once a month, and I try and put a link up in the goat shed when he's doing them, live repairs for people. He uses a platform called Jitsi, that's Jitsi. It's a bit of a funny one. I think it was around before some of the other platforms similar, but it seems to work okay. So, but you've got to check that your system can operate with Jitsi. Some people's earlier computers wouldn't do it or something or other. There's no problem on modern tablets or cell phones and that, but yeah, a lot of people's older laptops wouldn't work. But these clinics monthly, as I say, probably 2 months ago, it might have been January, or a guy came on there with a Williams game. I can't remember what it was. Anyhow, it was scoring too many bonuses. Now, what we do with these, we get the person to write out what's wrong with their game, and that's sent to all what they call the coaches. And we get 2 or 3 days to have a look at that before the clinic. The clinics are on today in America, Fridays, and we can have a look, and if we've got the schematic we can go over it and things like that. So this guy presented this game and you could hear it. You could hear the score motor wasn't scoring right. You could hear it miss the score reels and everything like that. You know, you get used to the machines. Anyway, it was really, really lucky. I piped up early in the piece and said, hey, I think his problem is he's got a switch stack in the wrong position on his game. Anyway, everyone went silent for a minute, and then one of the guys piped up and said, you know what? You might have saved us a lot of time. Let's look there first. Because the circuit was rather involved, you know, it would have probably made the guy look at a lot of relays and so on and so forth. Anyway, fortunately enough, that was the problem. Now, we did a video on this illustrating, I can't remember what it was, but I put up the schematic. On a Williams schematic, they're really good with what the score motors do. Like, you know, on Gottlieb, it doesn't tell you what anything does. But on the Williams, it tells you that this motor does this and this motor does that. It's cam. Score motor cam does this, score motor cam does that. And it always starts off looking at the score motor from the front. The left is always what you call the index or the home position. And then each cam's staggered 30 degrees apart. And then you get up to the cams with 5 like little teeth on them. You know, they're for resetting and scoring and stuff like that. Gottlieb couldn't do any more with their carousel score motor. They couldn't add anything to it, any cams to it, without re-engineering the whole lot. But Williams and Bally, because they used horizontal score motors, I call them horizontal and carousel, make sense? Okay. They were able to add more cams and things like this. But what Williams also did, if you look at some of their schematics, and it'll use the word SW forward, or sometimes it even says SWS forward, switches forward, switches half forward. Now, what the hell does that mean, people might say? That was Williams's way of changing the timing on their score motor for a particular switch stack. So if you take switches off, just undo the 2 screws to lift the switch stack off to make it easy to clean the bottom switches, that's fine, please do it. Ensure you know or can see where the switch stack went back on because it'll be dirty around there, put it back. So we resolved that in about, 20 minutes. That was great, and the guy was elated, and I was just lucky that Graham and I had seen this about 4 years before. I don't even know how I remembered it, all the alcohol I drink. How would I remember? But I did. Anyway, what I'm alluding to, just to bore you a bit further more, last weekend, a friend of mine in the States wrote to me and said this guy's a very experienced pinball machine mechanic. And he just wanted a bit of advice. And what he was asking about was a Williams Skylab. So he wrote to me and told me what his problem is. And anyone that's familiar with Skylab, it's sort of got a semicircle down toward the bottom of the playfield with bonuses. I think you can get 5 lots of 3,000 bonus.
3,000 goes up to 15.
Yeah, so 5 throughs of 15, yeah. Anyway, that's great. He rebuilt the machine and everything like this. And just before I go on, I'll tell you, this is one of the guys that discovered the problem with Klondike, where Klondike, when you got 3 wagon trains or 3 hats or something.
3 of the hats to pay 3,000.
Pay 3,000 and it wouldn't pay. It'd only pay every second time. He figured that out. That's the jumper wire missing off the score reel. We're going to do a video on that, by the way, when we get Graham's Klondike back up and running. So this guy's experience, so this is what I'm saying. He's reached out to me and asked, would I have a clue? I haven't got a clue about many things, but I had a clue about this because what he said, here was his clue. He dismantled everything to clean it. And what was happening, he couldn't understand why he was getting 5,000 instead of 3,000 bonus. So in other words, each tooth was picking the switch to closing the scoring switch to the 1,000-point relay 5 times, 5,000 points. He only wanted it to score 3,000 points. Right. I said, hey, I quickly looked at the schematic because it was a Williams game on the IPDB, and Cam 5 fires the 1,000-point relay, and it has to be in the forward position. I think it was from memory.
Yeah, it's got to be.
But there is forward and a half on Cam 6. I haven't got the schematic here, so don't get stuck into me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it said forward. And because it was in the forward position, it's time to miss the first 2 teeth. It only gets the last couple of pulses of the scoring. And he fixed it. But he did find after it that he was still scoring an extra 1,000, I think it was. But it's just that the bonus unit wasn't shutting off. It wasn't shutting off when it should, the 0 position switch. So that's a really interesting trick, or trap, I should say, on Williams games, and we will do a video on that. So that's really Williams' way of, or one of their ways of a masking or blocking circuit. And they're really fantastic, masking and blocking circuits on Gottlieb. Anyone ever, does anyone know what that, yeah, everyone knows what I'm talking about, do they, with a masking or blocking circuit? So what that means is you get a game like, I don't know, let's take early 60s games. It occurs in all the damn things, actually.
Yeah, Fashion Show's a good one.
Fashion Show would be. Oh, I was going to use Crosstown / Subway. In that regard. Gottlieb used score motor switches to use their blocking. Now, once again, Mark Gibson has done a wonderful job on illustrating that on his site, Fun with Pinball. If you want to have a look, it's sort of I don't know. I just find it engineering that was almost ahead of its time.
I always thought that Williams games were the Rolls Royce of pinball machines when I was a kid.
Yeah,
they just seem so well, compared to the other games. So much well built.
Yeah, well built. That's what I was looking for. So if you have a look at a Gottlieb schematic, you can have a look at a lot of them, but in about the middle of the schematic, often you'll see things that, it might only score 2,000 points, or let's make it easy, like Mark does in his example, 10, 20, 30, 40 or 50 points. So there's a fan target right in the middle of the playfield on Crosstown Subway, and you've got to align the two colours. I think it's red and yellow, and you can get 30 points, 40 points, or special. How does it do that? Because the score motor has 5 teeth. So it's the switch 1A, which is the scoring switch, is going to fire 5 times. But what they do, they use switches on the score motor, and I call it 2314, 2314. So that's normally the normal switches they use was 2C, 3B, 1B, and 4C. They're motor switches, 2C, 3B, 1B, and 4C. Now they're normally closed switches. A classic example is switch 2C on a Gottlieb. Switch 2C, or stack 2C, is the only stack that uses the long throw position on the dog. Now, I probably have a dog here somewhere, but I'm just going to have a little look. Do I, don't I?
Yeah, there's one up here.
Got one, have we?
Yep.
Oh, Graham's gone dog hunting. Oh, here we go. All right. That dog is in the long position. See the silver bit's the dog carrier, the black bit's the dog. The cam on the score motor pushes the dog. I'm sorry, I've got that. Pushes that in, and the switches change state. On a Gottlieb, switch stack 2C is the only stack that has the dog in the long throw position. Normally they live in the short throw position, which is that. See, there's a big difference. There's about a quarter-inch gap there now. But when the switch is in the long throw, when the dog is in the long throw position, the dog's in the long throw position, what it does, that changes the timing. So stack 2C is timed by the dog in that position off the second tooth on cam 1A. Make sense? You've got those teeth, 5 teeth, but because that dog is in that position, if the dog's in the short throw position on stack 2C, all sorts of weird things will happen. And we had one of the most common things that you'll know, and it'll stick out, if you can just remember this, if you ever go to a game and it's got 6 replays on it, you press the start button and the replays go down to 4, I'll bet you 99.9% of the time someone's unscrewed the switch stack off, that's fallen down, that's all fallen out of place. They've said, oh shit, where does that go? And they look at the others and they all go there. Well, for the others that's right, but for 2C it's not. And because it was in the short throw position, it would fire twice. It'd fire off the first tooth and it's not supposed to. Have I done a good job of confusing you there? That's all to do with score motor timing. A very, very important thing on pinball machines. And you get to learn a little bit about it as time goes by. That Gottlieb book, the little book that's really hard to get, the A5 style one with the smokestack on the factory coming out. If you're really interested, try and get yourself a copy of that, because that gives you all the explanations of what they use the switches for. And it's common over most machines, like, on level 3 D and 3E with the cam stick up high. Those switches are often used for turning lights on and off. For argument's sake, every third turn of the score motor, it turns the special off and turns it back on, or something like that. So that's what they did. It's all about, when I first started doing this, I've been with Graham now, 10 years. He used to have a full head of hair when I first met him.
Yeah.
I must have driven him crazy. I haven't got that much left myself. I wouldn't have known anything like that. I just said, we've got wires that solder onto switches and switches that move. And as time goes by, you start to think, well, how the hell does this work? And you sort of got to figure it out, because if you don't understand how it works, you're not going to be able to fix it properly. That's the theory anyway. So that all started about Gottlieb from the Williams conversation, but it means similar things, just they do it differently. And that's what I started to say, like, you'll often find if Bally wanted to have a score of 3,000 points, what they would have done, they would have put an extra cam in with just 3 lugs on it to do that. Because, you know, you look at I've got a Williams score motor out there. It's only a short one out of a 60s game. It's only got about 9 cams on it. You have a look at this one here. It's probably got, I don't know, probably got a dozen on it. This Fantastic. And that's 72. So as probably lucky electronics came into it, because by 78, 77, they were wanting to put more and more in pinball machines. You take that Close Encounters of the Third Kind, electromechanical, the bonus, you can get a 3x bonus on that. But on the solid state version, if you look at the playfield, you can get a 5x bonus, I think. Is that correct?
Yep.
So they were starting to run out of room in the machines. And they were getting costly to make. For argument's sake, this Williams Fantastic, I'll let you into a little secret because we're going to say it in our video, but the BOM, the Bill of Materials, in 1972 to build that game for all the parts was $280.36. Now, back in 72, I don't know about in America, but that was probably more than someone's wage. And they sold that to the distributor for $662.50. And then I guess the distributor's done their deals and putting them on site for 40, 60 and 20, I don't know, whatever they did. So that's quite interesting. And they made 5,680 of that Fantastic game in 1972. That's a pretty big production run. Because you've got to remember Spirit of 76, Gottlieb Spirit of 76 in 1976, they made, what, about just over 10,000 of them. So he was Williams making 5,672. I know Gottlieb made a few like that, but that's a hell of a lot of electromechanical games. And it also tells us on the IPDB that on that, out of that 5,680, they made 170 sample games and sent them out into the field. So that's interesting as well. Now, what are you up to now, Graham?
I'm just finishing the score rules. This is player 4, I think, and so this one's player 2. So just these ones to do. These ones, as you could imagine, player 4, it's nowhere near as bad as what player 1 would be, and player 2. So it's going to be, after I do this, I just got to do the relays.
Right, yeah.
And then we're finishing the steppers, and we can put it all back in the cabinet.
Ah, right. Oh, okay. Look, sorry about that, Patrick. I see you said Cleveland. Yes, that was the name of the place I was trying to think of. That's where that rock and roll... Anyway, we didn't go to that because one of the guys we were with was an American chap and he'd been there and sort of talked us out of it. We ended up going to a place called something Lake in Ohio, a pretty little coastal town. Hello, Holly. How are you today? Holly Rigg over there in Ohio. Welcome from down under here in Australia. G'day, how you going? We're pretty rough down here.
Pretty rough, yeah.
When I speak in Chicago, I always ask, can you guys understand me? Really, we all speak very similar. It's just the accent, isn't it? And they all say, we can understand you perfectly well. It's just the people from down south we can't understand. Must be an American joke. CNK YouTube, what kind of view is this? What do you mean what we're looking at now? That's the head of a Bally I beg your pardon, a Williams Fantastic pinball machine. Anyway, why would a scoring reel need an EOS? They only have one stroke to roll. They don't reel. I don't see the need. Oh, right. Okay, so there you go, Graham. A guy's asking why a score reel needs an end-of-stroke switch.
Well, it cuts power to the coil. So
yeah.
If it locks on, you'll cook it.
Yeah, so the idea is the scoring relay pulls in and the end of stroke for that is caused by the opening of the end of stroke switch. So if the end of stroke switch doesn't open, the scoring relay is going to stay engaged, and so is the score reel. You won't see an end of stroke switch on the last. No, sorry. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, well, here it is. Here's one here. This is on the 10,000.
Okay, can you hold it over here a bit and down a bit?
And you can see here the end of stroke's missing.
Yeah. Okay. Graham's trying to show you guys something here. I'll just bring this around. Sorry.
Yep.
My finger. Right. That's where the end of stroke switch box. This is the 10,000 rule. You don't need an end of stroke switch. There's not one there.
And there's one that's got it.
And there's a reel. Just got this flying thing in the road there. Yeah. Can we see that? Hang on. I'm just able to turn this around a bit. And there's a reel with an end of stroke switch on. That's the 1,000 reel next to it. So when the plunger pulls in, pull the plunger in for me, right? That's closed, normally closed, and she opens up.
Yeah.
It's a bit. Oh, there you go.
Well, they stick.
That opens up.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question. Yeah, and CN CoTube says live coach at LFG. Yes, could stand for anything. Couldn't it now? Yeah, no worries, Patrick. I guess there's a lot of things sometimes that we take for granted that people know, and it's often easy to overlook simple things. I know that. I often make that mistake.
Because we do it every day.
We're so used to doing it. And as I said earlier, we don't know everything, you know. Like I mentioned, that other guy reached out for help about the Williams scoring bonus problem on his Skylab. It was just great that I could help him. He was overcome with joy. But, you know, there might be questions that we have that we might need to ask people from time to time. Don't be afraid to ask anything, because we all don't know everything, and we're all self-taught. There's only a couple of people that I know, well, there's only one now, that actually worked in a pinball factory. There's a few still getting around, and that's John Osborne. Now, John is a really knowledgeable guy. I mean, he was a designer for Gottlieb from 72 to 84, so he worked there 12 years. When he started, they were building King Cool, and I'm fortunate to have become friends with him, and I visit his home each time I go over to the States. And I can email him and ask him any questions. And
he's got some beautiful machines at his place.
Yeah, he's got a nice collection of machines.
You actually done a video at his place.
I did. There's a video, 2 videos I did last year. They were in October. They're not that far back. One was showing. One was the first time we went there after we'd been to the New Pike Arcade. We all went back for a bit of a meal and everything. And the other one was when I stayed there overnight before flying back home to Australia. So have a look at those. John's a lovely guy, but it's just great to have people with this sort of knowledge. I think there's another guy that worked for Bally. I cannot pronounce his name. Greg Kimechi or Kimek, something like that. They say he goes to Expo, but I've never met him. So he designed a few electromechanical games for Bally. So I mean, he's still kicking, but sadly, you know, Wayne Nines is no longer with us. Wayne died in 2022, I think it was now. But I was really fortunate. I got to speak with him on the telephone. My good friend Will was able to give me his phone number, and I spoke to him when he lived in the nursing home. Sadly, he was getting, you know, a little bit short on memory and things like that. But he loved the fact that I took the time to ring him from Australia. And I loved the fact that I could talk to the man who made my favourite pinball machine. Of course, Harry Williams is long gone. Norm Clark, Steve Cordek, you know, they're gone. They're all part of history. Another guy, you know, and there's guys around fixing pinball machines back when the bulletin boards were around and stuff like that before the internet. I can't think of the name of that. Something over there in America, was it? I don't know. I think that Chris Hibbler that sort of got a lot to do with PinWiki and does a lot of solid state. He had stuff to do with that. Who else? Russ Jensen, he wrote that book for the Pin Game Journal, I think it was. If you can get hold of that, it's fairly technical. It talks about resistance and everything, which is an enemy in an electromechanical game, too much resistance, switches and stuff like that. Really, really good educational piece of material. I spoke earlier on about the Gottlieb book and the Williams book. Oh, I had a Williams one here a minute ago. What did I do with it? Yeah. These are available for download off Mark Gibson's site. They're not copyrighted. Hang on a sec. Try and... Yeah. There you go. Coin-operated amusement games by Williams. You can get that. Just goes into everything. Talks about lock-in circuits. We always talk about the lock-in circuit there in our courses. We ran a course back on the 1st of March, and we probably run one again toward the end of July. We've got a few people still want to get involved. So, you know, that's available. There's one that Dally did. That's also there on Mark Gibson's side. That's Fun with Pinball. Now, I talk about Mark's site a lot. Mark has a great resource, a lovely man, very, very knowledgeable, can interpret schematics like a mouse can interpret, like a spider can interpret a spider web, I should say. So have a look at his site. It's a website, funwithpinball.org, I think it is, but just type in Fun with Pinball and it'll come up. What have we got here? Oh, you're a truck mechanic, or car truck mechanic? Yeah, okay. Working on bowling machines, which made me love EM machines. Oh, rightio. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we've worked on one or two of them.
You've interacted with Steve at PBR a lot. He's a great, knowledgeable guy. Well, that's what we were just talking about earlier on. We've got great resources, and the Pinball resource is one of those. And I've been fortunate enough to have visited the Pinball resource in Poughkeepsie, sort of upstate there in New York, the last stop on the Metro North, and go up there and speak to Steve. And last year in 2024, we even got to go to his home and look at his private collection, which was cool. But a lot of people don't understand that he's old school. He doesn't take credit cards. He still takes checks, and you can pay him either, using another application called Transfer. We all need to support the Pinball resource, simply because he has the license to Gottlieb. He's had to pay a shit ton of money for that. So yes, he does charge $18 for a copy of a schematic. He's got the wide format printer there to print it all out. I think he's got a HP or an Epson or something, if he hasn't got them already printed, and he'll send them to you. And goodness me, $18 US and a bit of postage in an envelope isn't all that much money to have the plans for your machine there. And if you can, buy the instruction manual, which I don't think they started coming out in the early 70s in Gottlieb. Buy it. Yes, you can buy all the parts off, the Gottlieb parts off Marco's. Yep, that's fine. But you've got to remember, all the Gottlieb stuff, they buy off Steve. Okay, you might be happy using their credit card system. I mentioned earlier, there's another company, I'm sorry, I didn't mention earlier, there's another company there called Pinball Life. What's the chap's name? De Schwartz, just can't think of his, De Schwartz, Margaret, and anyway, I've been there too a couple of times. They're pretty helpful. I think they sell a lot of Bally stuff, you know, a lot of stuff for solid state games, which we have no interest in. So we've got to support these people. We've all got to be vigilant about these bloody scammers when people say they want to buy something. I mean,
yeah, they're getting worse.
They stick out like the proverbial dog's balls. You know, someone asks in a question, I want to buy a so-and-so on a Facebook post. Next minute, some bright chap PM me.
Yeah.
Now that's a giveaway. If they ever say that, always open up their profile by pressing their picture, or sometimes they don't have a picture. 9 times out of 10, they'll have a locked profile.
Yep.
And there'll be no information on there.
And in their comments, they always say, "Oh, thank you, dear," a lot.
Yes.
When they start saying "dear."
I don't have to lecture people on that, but it happens a lot in the pinball game.
And we hate people getting ripped off.
Yeah, I don't like seeing people getting ripped off. It's just not on. So we in the Goat Shed in our Facebook group, we've got about 5,100 members. Look, we could have had the EM pinball group, which has been around the longest, has got over 7,000. We could have had that, but look, we don't want to be the biggest pinball group in the world. We only started off to share with people that lived around us originally. Marco Rossignoli said, oh, he used to post in the Newcastle Pinball Association. He said, oh, you guys can do it yourself. And that's how it all started for us about 8 years ago.
It used to be, Marco started What's Happening in Graham's Shed.
That's right.
Years ago.
Yeah, oh my God, that was R-rated, so we couldn't show it on Facebook.
And of course there's Goat Shed After Dark too.
Goat Shed, oh, well, we had to can that, totally. Yeah. But, yeah, there's 3 questions we ask people, you know, where do you live? Well, we only want to know you live in the United States or you live in Pittsburgh or Chicago or where you live. We want to know what your favourite EM pinball game is, and we want to know are you going to abide by Spanky's rules in the group. Well, 60-70% of people don't bother answering those questions. So we just have there's a system we have now where we just say, look, you didn't answer the questions. If you want to join the Goat Shed, reapply by answering. Probably better than 50% don't bother. People just join groups. And the other thing is, with the Facebook groups now, there's too many. And a few of us all had a talk. EM Pinball was really probably one of the first, and still probably is the top group. We, as I said, started our group unintentional of going worldwide, but that's social media. But then after that, another guy went off and started a Gottlieb EM group, a Williams EM group.
And a Bally as well.
And then another guy just recently started a Bally EM group. Good on him, but the silly part about it is all of us are all in those groups. And, you know, there are specialty groups for wood rails and that, which are, you know, a special area.
Fair enough.
And bingo machines and that. There's too many groups, and what tends to happen is now we're getting multiple people join each of those groups and they cross-post, and boy, it's annoying. You might get a guy with something, oh, I've got this problem, I've got that problem, and you get people that really know what they're talking about trying to help them, but because maybe that person's in the UK and that person's in America, or they're in Australia and someone's in America, there's time differences and people get frustrated. They want answers now. Tell me now. So they cross-post, and then all of a sudden the knowledge the person that really knew what they're talking about gave them falls to the wayside. They've never done it. So they've gone off and asked some other dude who gives them some
ridiculous
really
answer.
ridiculous, bizarre answer. And then they come back to you and you think, oh my God. And a lot of people are like, they're just not responding to them anymore. It's as simple as that. So that is becoming problematic. We can't do anything about it. That's just what people will do. So so we try and be a bit selective about who we let into the Goat Shed, and we often see scammers. I said to Graham just the other, oh, look at this guy, you know, he's got no friends. He's got 6 friends. They all look like they live in Timbuktu.
Yeah, only joined a couple of weeks ago.
And they've only been on Facebook a very short time. Classic scammer characteristics, if I can say that. What have we got here? I have a 1969 Williams Suspense and a 1979 Gottlieb Totem, and can't wait to get more. I've learned a lot about EM and SS. Well, that's great, Patrick. We're glad you're embracing it. I have another question. How do you guys clean the female connector of the Jones plugs? Rightio. Well, oddly enough, you don't need to clean the female as much as you need the male. With the male, we use we use this stuff. Now, there's different ways. They get oxidised. We use just a little bit of this fine paper. What's that one, Graham?
Oh, that's probably
Not sure.
probably 80 grit.
Yeah. People use Steel wool's not a good idea because it leaves those little fragments of the steel and it can go down and you can get short circuits. So I don't recommend that.
But with the female, we just run. I broke off the end of a chainsaw file.
Yeah, a chainsaw file or a gun.
But don't put it in the drill. You've got to do it manually.
Yeah, don't whatever you do, don't put it in the drill.
Rip the hell out of the
and
plug.
be really, really careful with those damn bally ones. They are crap and they break.
Yeah, they're the worst.
If one gets broken on the Gottlieb, often there's a spare pin and you can run the wire over to it and use that. Just got to change the wire.
When the belly's broke, you've got to change actually the whole plug.
They were nasty, yeah.
Yeah, they're terrible.
So, yeah, that's how we do it. But we don't often find we've got to clean the female. And look, the best way to tell is do a resistance test. Put your meter onto the ohms, you know, the omega. Put it on the female and then on the male at the top. Put it on one that's working and look at the resistance with a sort of same gauge wire, if you can see that. And if you've got a much higher resistance on the one you think you're having trouble with, it'll often need cleaning. Someone's got a star action, CNK tube, KU tube. I have a star action, I believe it's overscoring. I need to keep an eye out for your triple action work. Okay, yeah, is that on bonus?
Well, we had a star action, wasn't it?
Yeah. But CNKU tube, if you're still there, is that on bonus? Let me know anyway. And I'll just remind everybody while we're here, we really like to answer the technical questions. I mean, happy to answer them here while we're live, but we get some people write technical questions on YouTube. And it's difficult to answer because you're unable to cut and paste a lot of things, or I am, because I only use a cell phone for emails and everything these days. I have got a laptop, but it's old and the keyboard needs coming out and cleaning. But needless to say, we've got about 9 or 10 group experts, and as we we're just saying, if you write a question and we're still in bed over here asleep and you guys are wide awake, you're going to have about a dozen answers by the time we get to see your question. So that's one of the reasons sometimes you good people in the States don't hear from us till later because we're in bed. What do? Spanky feeding him and all that?
Well, Spanky's usually down the pub.
Oh, okay.
You got to ring the bottle shop to get caught.
To get him, yeah.
Get him, yeah.
Yeah. What else? Well, we've still got quite a bit to do. I can't see any light at the end of the tunnel. We were talking about blocking circuits a little while ago with the Gottlieb. When I was over in the States last year, or even in 2022, I think it was, John Osborne made a demonstration score motor unit. He's got a Gottlieb score motor bolted to a block of wood, a relay, and a Jones plug to simulate scoring. And he's got a knocker that'll fire. So you plug it in the 1-point plug, press the button, it'll score, and the blocking circuit takes care of the 5 pulses, only letting 1 pulse through. Second one, 20 points, 30, 40 and 50 points. I'm hoping to make one of those. I've got the schematic. I drew it all up when I was over there with John's assistance, and I've just got to sit down and make one.
Yeah, we've got the parts.
We've got all the bits. It's just a matter of time, and coming into winter, I might even make that a project at home. I can, when I leave the goat shed, I can go home and sit down in the sun in the backyard and do it. I just got to get a square bit of wood, paint it.
You can blow your own shed up.
Yeah, and we've got to use I'll use a US transformer because we've got plenty of them, and I'll just use a step down when we want to illustrate it, and that'll illustrate the blocking circuit for us that we were talking about earlier on. LFG is excitement. I tell you what excitement is when you're down the pub with Spanky and he gets drunk and jumps up on the bar and wants to take his goat coat off. Goodness me, that's terrible. And he gets getting on this site called, I thought he meant he was grinding, but it's something about grind. I don't know. Anyone know what he means?
I think it's a goat site.
A goat site.
Yeah.
Must be, gee, yeah. I would wear a goat shed shirt if you'd sell them. Yeah, look, we kind of looked into that, and yeah, you're right, we would need a distributor because the shipping from Australia to America is horrendous. But can you get me a sign, please, that sign? We we have shipped our signs, our goat shed signs. We have shipped our goat shed fridge magnets. Now, that's one other thing I meant to talk about, and I'm glad you asked about the shirts. We will consider it again, but everyone's different, you know, like, so you got to have small to triple X, you know. I wear a triple X, I'm a skinny
If we
bloke.
do it, we could probably only have 3 sizes.
We'd only have a 3 sizes, you know. I did give away 2 goat shed shirts when I was in America last year to 2 very special friends. So there's only 2 in the whole of the United States. So I guess those people are blessed.
Yeah. We give them to local people sometimes.
Yeah, because for us to get a lot made, we've got to outlay a lot of money, and I've said this time and time again. We aren't a business. We're just hobbyists. We don't have a bank account for the goat shed. We have a little bit of petty cash that we might get. Some people, their mate Kyle gets cans cashed in at one of those cash-in centres, and we get a little bit of money like that. But all the money we get, it goes back into the damn shed, right? I think we sold $20 worth of rubbers the other day. I think we bought a couple of beers at lunch, but that's okay. But we're still considering getting more of these done, the goat shed signs. Now, shipped to the US, I think from memory, last time we were doing it, they were about, shipped over in an envelope, they were about 25 bucks. 20 bucks, I'd have to check. Postage in Australia has gone up here exponentially over the last 12 months. It's bloody ridiculous. So we've got to watch out for that. But yeah, we can send you them. They fit them in a, what do you call it, envelope? Deal. I can't think of the name of it. We used to sell damn envelopes in the stationery game. So if anyone's interested, look, let us know. We've had a small interest, but I'm going to put a post up in the goat shed. I might even do it this morning when I get off here, and ask expressions of interest. We've got to buy 100. Right? That's as simple as that. We've got to buy 100. And the first time I bought them in 2022, I took 50 over to America, and I got rid of the lot.
Yeah, no worries.
No worries. And that left us about 50 or something, and then people were buying them and we sold them. This is the only one left in captivity. Now, I'm just going to ask again, Paul Crawsack, are you there, mate? You wanted to see our
cradle.
Our cradle, but you haven't come on. Paul's from New Jersey. Don't hold that against him. It's the other side of the Hudson River.
You can still show it. He might watch it later.
That's probably true. We have our Payfield cradle we put up on our bench where I'm talking to you now. It's not a rotisserie, it's a cradle, so we can only work on one side at once, but it makes life so much easier. And if anyone's interested, the guy that fixes the cabinets built this for us in 2018. We've had it a number of years now. And I think he has the specimen. It's not hard to build. If you're handy, you can build one. I'll get, what do we do, Graham? We take this up there?
Yeah.
Or you want to drag it down?
Probably drag it this way. I'll do it.
Hang on, Graham will drag it down and we'll have a look at that, okay? Credit at PBR, yeah. That'd be good, Patrick, yeah. We will think about it, mate, but I don't know that it's going to become a reality. Let's see, here we go. Let's show you this. This is our cradle. Oh, hang on, I better get it off my dial. So it's simply
just a frame with an inner frame attached.
There it is there. It's all screwed together. And there's a ledge there. Graham will point to that. It used to have like
a sponge on it.
That foamy stuff, but that's worn off. So it's just a little ledge. So we all the Bally and the Williams and the Gottlieb all fit in there. It's reasonably got a bit of weight in it. You can see where it ends there at the end.
Yeah, it's proper
the ledge
timber.
with my foot.
It's good, well made.
It's good timber. It's well made. Like I said, we don't abuse it, but all we've got to do is pick it up, put it on, and look at that. We've even got a Gottlieb sticker on the side of it. So that's the cradle, and it's just all screwed together. So if anyone is interested, I can probably get the specifications off the builder, and
You can make one.
and you can make one. I know it's not what a lot of people want. A lot of people want a rotisserie, and the biggest problem we've got here, we put the cradle long ways on the bench, like where I am. So we've got the, oh, here we go again. Show you the bench. So we can get it this side, but we can't get it that side because it's a desk.
Yeah.
Right? But you can see here what Graham's got. He's got the score reels over that side now, and he's able to get there and work on them all. See that? Look at that. Williams gave you a lot of cable. Later Bally, later Gottlieb, my God.
Oh, it was terrible.
And we can get it at this side, but we just turned it round.
We've already done them too.
There's the player unit we've been working on. Like I said, we've just got to bolt that down. There's a replay unit got to come out, and that board there, we haven't cleaned it or anything yet. That belongs to the match unit, the 0 to 9 unit. Ronnie Lyons from Joe's, he laughs at us saying the 0 to 9 unit. He hasn't heard that terminology before, because it's the match unit, but actually
It does have it on the machine.
it says it on the machine, 0/9. So there you go. All right. Okay, so anyone got anything else they want to ask us? Have we had any more questions? Great sign. Yeah, they had a good sign. Our good friend Nathan made Spanky's logo. So like I said, if you're interested, let us know. I don't know how many of our viewers that are on here today are on Facebook. I know some people don't have social media. So if you're not, you can tell us your expression of interest here in the comments down below, please. But if you are, when I put the post up, I'll prefer you put it on the Facebook. That way it gives me an idea. Right, and I know you get expressions of interest. 50 people say they want one, but only 10 will end up paying you. But just bear in mind, we're the guys that have got to invest in the money, and it ties our money up because we want to buy parts for pinball machines and all sorts of bits and pieces. We've just ordered, I'm waiting, it'll be here on Monday or Tuesday. We use this soldering station just here. It's made in, it's called a Duratec. Well, this is the second one we've had, and they just fall apart. I mean, I know we shouldn't, but see I can't see the cord there. We've had to pull that all apart, and it's coming apart again to fix it. So what I've done, I've ordered supposedly one of the better, I guess there'll be arguments about this, soldering irons in the world. I've ordered a Weller station. That cost me $248. And that's what I mean. If we start, I'm going to pay for that out of my own pocket because we just haven't got enough money to help pay for that at the moment. But that's life. When these people get here, we'll have some money for that golden arrow repair.
Yeah, be able to eat again.
Yeah, Graham was getting real skinny. Oh, I was worried about him. He was going to lose weight.
I know.
All right, good people. Thanks for putting up with us again on another of your Friday afternoons. I hope you're all having a Yangling or two for those that imbibe. That's my favourite brew when I come to the United States.
Yeah, what does Spanky drink?
Oh, God.
Drinks anything.
Rocket fuel. Patrick asks another question. I know lubricating a pinball machine isn't recommended for most parts of it. Would you video of how to properly lube a disc with the rivets on? Well, we just actually did that. Okay, very, very quickly, let's show you. I'm going to get Graham to clean that disc. Rightio, hang on a sec. Just a tick. Here it is. Where is it? Oh, here. Just a second.
I'll let to get some of the grease off it first.
Yeah. All right, we'll do this live. That's filthy, right? He's going to get some isopropyl, or even got some isopropyl or a bit of kerosene. We have a spray of isopropyl.
Isopropyl.
Alcohol. He's going to spray that, wipe it clean. I'm going to get dirty fingers.
No, it's only alcohol. You just do it.
Yangling is brewed just down the road from me. Do you live in Pottsville, Mr. Motorden? I've been there. Now let me tell you while Graham's doing that, a little story. Patrick, he's doing it for you. We're good friends with Bingo Butch and his son Mike. Mike owns a bar in downtown Pottsville called Goodfellas. We went there on a Sunday in 2022 and Mike took us down to have a drink, and there was a gentleman there that worked in the Yangling factory up on the hill there. He had a few and he said, "Oh, I'll give you a tour of the Yangling factory." He rang his boss to make sure it's all right. Up we went and we got a tour of the tunnels and everything. It was great. We were shown the ice cream shop that is across the road now, which used to transport the beer underground and all that. It's just fabulous, and I love it. And we sat down and had Yanglings in the crib room there and everything. Classic old building. So yeah, that was fabulous, and you wouldn't believe it. We just pulled up, and another couple pulled up behind us, an American couple, and they've jumped out and they said, "Oh, it's closed." And anyway, the guy, I just can't think of his name, who took us up there said, No, we're going in, coming in. And the people were looking in disbelief. "No, I got these two Australian guys, we're coming in." And I turned around and said to the people, "Yeah, that's true. We're going to get a personal tour of the factory." And they said, "Oh, really?" And they said, "Yeah, coming in. He's invited you in." I said, there'll only be the five of us." So we had a great tour of the factory. It was really cool. And the guy was an ex-US Navy veteran. He'd retired, and we were having a bit of a chat about things. And he was just a bit older than me. And, you know, he'd been to Vietnam. And I told him I knew a lot of people been to Vietnam, and asked him what vessel he served on and all that. And he had the cap, you know, USS whatever, and the number on it. Yeah, it was a great afternoon. So there you go. So Graham's just cleaning. You can see that what a difference it's making.
Same thing with the rivets.
Yeah. So we're using this bit of 3M. You buy it on a big pad. Oh no, you can buy it in a little pads, but we get it. We get it from a fellow who works in big industry, and that's how they come on a square pad like that.
You can see they've got perforations. You can make them in.
Yeah. Can you see the perfs?
I'll tell the other side might be easier. 3M.
3M. Now I don't know what it is, but it's 3M, and that'd be, let me tell you, in inches. Damn inches ruler, is it still here?
Yeah.
Centimetres. Oh no, inches. Hang on a sec, people. We've got an inch ruler here. We used to do inches here years ago. God damn you Americans, you're backward. You've got to get onto metric. That's 8 1/4 by 12 inches. So there you go. Look at that. Graham probably had that ruler since he was in school.
Probably.
Inch. Yeah, that's a big thing we find here. We've mentioned that before, people, because we're in Australia, we've used metric since the early 70s, so inches are hardly spoken of anymore. But, you know, of course,
all us old
people use them. So look, he's cleaned that. I mean, he'll give it a better clean later. And then what you do, this is a grease. Now there's a 3-in-1 grease, but there's this PBR grease. Back in the day when you bought a new pinball machine, a tube came with it. It was a white tube or a black tube, and it had the grease in it. It was a dielectric grease, and it was used for putting on the step units. So see, it says electrical and mechanical grease. Now that's from PBR. I think that's about $7 or $8 a hit. It's only 28 grams, but it lasts a long time. I've had this about, I don't know, a fair few years, and we've still got a bit left, and we've got a brand new one. And probably next time when we run out of this one, next time we do a set PBR order, we'll get some more. So what we're going to do now, we just get a bit of that on our finger. I'm not going to do it now, and we'll apply the grease on the points of contact, just lightly. And that's how you do it. Does that answer your question for you? Who asked that? I don't know. Someone did. Yeah, oh, Patrick, yeah. Hi, Jim, hold on. I know Yangling's your favourite beer. You always got pictures of you drinking it. Sorry, I've missed a few questions here while I've been raving on. Is the market still hot in Australia? Popular more in the city? Yeah, look, Ben, pinball's still very popular here. Prices are super high. And it's going strong. Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. We're as fixing EMs, we're as busy as we've ever been. Haven't had enough time to go through all the videos. I'm trying. Yeah, well, there's 297 videos on there. When we put the next one, it'll be 298. And yeah, there's still a lot of pride in the old Anthracite mining towns, even through the economies are having a rough time. Well, yeah, that's true. I think every country's like that. Absolutely. Coal mining where we live here in our area, we have the coal fields just north of us. We have open cut mining a little bit further, but a lot of underground mining. Matter of fact, all around the area I live in was all mines. When I put my swimming pool in back in the 80s, I had to have a geotechnical inspection. Yeah, your problem was with the bonus count. Hey, CNK YouTube. I'm going to give you one word of advice before you get into that CNK YouTube with your bonus. Make sure your bonus stepper is working properly, okay? Make sure it's stepping up and down, the rivets are lined up and everything like that. Oh, looks great. Oh, you mean the plate? Yeah, well, he hasn't finished yet. I'm going to mark him
what, 8 out of 10?
Yeah, 7 out of 10. He's got a yeah. You don't have to get them perfect, but you will get that one a little bit better. The same grease. Look, you can also use Super Lube. I believe it is Super Lube. We don't use it. We can get it in Australia. We get this because it's specially made for pinball machines. Okay. The three of them. Yeah, I heard about the green one, David. I wanted to try it. I told Graham to go get it. But then we heard about this one and we were told it's even better. And I don't know about that. I can't speak from personal experience. But yeah, it works really good. We're really pleased with this. The best one we've ever had. Whatever you do, people, don't use sandpaper on them. If you want, and you've only got, you can use like a light emery. We used to put a light emery with WD-40 on there, and that cleaned them up.
Autosol's not too bad as well.
Or Autosol will polish the rest of it up if you want to do that. So it even says, see, match unit. There you go. It even says it. Williams, that you get a lot more friction on a Williams because of the wipers. I got the wiper up here. I just got up out of my chair to walk up and get it. I mean, Bally do it the same. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but you got those. So what I've done with these, I've got the Dremel, and I've cleaned all the contacts as best I can. Just rest them on a block of wood, and that'll go back in. But obviously the grease, when it goes on, you can simulate this. That's how it's sort of going to sit. So the long, where my thumb is, the long one's got to line up. And sometimes you get them where they don't line up right because they get a bit crooked and you might have to twist them. But just be very careful, mate. And when they're on there, make sure you've got downward pressure and they're touching the contact pad. Any tricks concerning rodent damage? When they didn't chew the wires, aka urine and feces. Yeah, look, that's a great question, Ben. Someone asked that question in one of the groups the other day. I wonder if it was you.
Well, you can cut out the bad bit and rejoin it with some good wire and heat shrink it.
Yeah, we've had to do that. We had a recently Beach Club bingo machine here. Not only, and it had a bit of that damage. What was the one that was really bad, Grant? Oh, Gary's pool game.
Yeah, Target Pool.
Target Pool. Oh, wow. We did a video on Target Pool.
Like a year ago?
About a year or two ago. And yeah, so what we did, we cut and shut. We they'd eaten all the cloth covering. So what we did, we've got different sizes of heat shrink here. We buy at the local electronics store. So we cut and shut, put the heat shrink on, cut it to length, and away we go. There's all different sizes in there. So we've already cut a lot of that up. That's what we do. And if there's green oxidisation on there, we get a bit of emery cloth or sandpaper and clean that up. There's a few good YouTube videos on how to join wires for anyone, like nothing to do with pinball, it's just how to join wires. They're really cool. I've watched a few of them. But you got to do it sometimes, haven't you? Join the wires to keep the damn things going. But yeah, when they piss in there and everything, that's a real problem. You just got to do the best you can. I caught Spanky urinating in one of the machines one day when he was drunk. We weren't happy, were we?
No.
That's a bit of Australian humour, people. I know you probably don't appreciate our humour. We're crazy.
We're sick.
If you remember back in Ohio, I'd like to meet you. Well, Patrick, I will hopefully be back in the USA next year in the fall, in the October. We like to visit the York White Rose Game Room show in Pennsylvania. We've got a lot of our good friends there. A lot of the people I originally met on Facebook and didn't know them from Bar Large. You know, I've already met all those people. Some of the Woodrail guys like Tom Considine, Dave Lipinski, some of the more serious collectors, Dave Matrando, Pat Gallagher, just to name a couple of people. I met some people last year. I met Adam Vanderbekoor, I think if you pronounce it right. I met Mark Carey from Virginia, and some of those guys. Then when we were in Chicago, I met a whole lot of other people. I guess when you're on social media and you're out there a bit, people tend to recognise you. And I had a great time. But yeah, my friend Craig, who I tour with, he's from Sydney here in Australia. He owns a home in Euclid, a rental place. And we always visit there. And I think Euclid from memory isn't far from the place. I couldn't remember, Cleveland. So I don't know where you live, but yeah, you're possibly around there. We could say hi. And I always bring Spanky with me. Graham misses him so much, I'm not sure he's going to let me take him anymore.
But make sure you got grog.
Yeah, make sure you got a beer for Spanky, would you? Yeah. Oh, well, it's been a fairly informative session today. We've spoken everything about step units, and score motors, and score reels, and match units, and
goats.
Goats, and all sorts of things pinball. What more?
Ready for morning tea.
It is. As we say in Australia, it's 10:30. Something we learnt from the English, our most propitious time, morning tea. So cucumber sandwiches, high tea, no, just a cup of coffee and a biscuit. And that'll do us. Any more, do you know Dr. Scott, the pinball guy from Toledo? No, I don't. I'm sorry, I do not. I might have seen him, but unless he's on Facebook. I don't go on Pinside, just to let everyone know. Graham doesn't go on Pinside. We're just on Facebook and YouTube. You're just outside of Toledo. Now, Toledo, Ohio is where they made the scales, I believe, Toledo scales. Your star action is overscoring during bonus. Okay. Well, we need to... this is addressing CNK YouTube. You need to check the bonus unit is stepping cleanly. The rivets are all lined up with the fingers and it resets cleanly. And if that's the case, I'm going to take a bet. I'll try and have a look at that. CNK YouTube, are you on Facebook? Are you in our Facebook group? The Goat Shed EM Pinball Repair Specialist? Because I'll have a look at that game. What game was it again? Star Action. And we'll see if there's a forward.
Remember, we had one here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. 2 hours west of Cleveland. It will be fun to meet you guys. Once you met us, you won't say that, right? Yeah. Okay. We made Jamie Farr here too. Oh, Jamie Farr from MASH. Klinger. Well, that says a lot, doesn't it? We won't make any comments about that. Toledo is the home of Jeep too. Oh, right, okay, interesting. You're in Buffalo, New York. Local hangout is Pocketeer, which is over 90 pins. So Buffalo's upstate a bit, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, you got the joke, Patrick. Yeah, good. We're pretty sick here in Australia. We hope we don't offend anybody. Probably do. But it doesn't matter. It's our channel. We'll say what we want. Yeah, so KN YouTube, like I say, I'm going to write out, we were supposed to have a sign with our email address on, but a young lady let us down. I'm going to write our Facebook group down. Or can anyone remember this? I would say, because I haven't really got any room to write. We have an email address now. Now, we don't use it for technical support. We just use it so you can contact us. But our email address is contact.goatshed@gmail.com. That is contact, CONTACT, dot goatshed, one word, @gmail.com. If you need to contact us. But I will have a look at that star. Oh, what was it again? What was it, Graham?
Star Pool, is it?
Star Action.
Star Action.
Star Action. Come for some Tony Pacos. Oh, I'm not sure what they are. Yeah, is that food or beer? Yeah, never mind. Well, this has been a little longer session than we normally do. We've been on the air for about an hour 26 now. We've had some good engagement with all you people. Oh, that's right, it is too. We fit in well here. Yeah. I have friends in San Diego and I love that place. I spend a fair bit of time there. I spend 10 days there, 5 when I arrive and 5 when I go back. But I'm looking forward to seeing more of America. I want to go visit Joe over at Joey Lyons and Ronnie Lyons at Joe's arcade there in South Carolina. I want to have a little bit of a look around Virginia. Too big a place, too little time left, getting too old. All right, people. Total Solar Eclipse coming. Oh, to Australia, July 28th. I'm hoping to get there for it. Well, oh, okay. Well, I'm going to assume that you're coming from the United States, Mr. Motorden. You're more than welcome to visit us in the Goat Shed. We're 100 mile north of Sydney, the capital of New South Wales. And we've had a visitor from France here, a guy called
Andre
Four. He came out a couple of years ago. He loved it. Have we had any other? We've had people from all over.
Even as far as says money.
Catawissa in PA. Oh, okay then. Rightio. Pennsylvania's a big state. Well, bear in mind, if you do come to Australia, you're more than welcome to call and see us. Okay. Have you got anything more to add, Graham?
No, everything's well.
Everything's cool. Yeah. It's morning tea. Graham's brother's just arrived, so that tells us it's 10:30. It's like a watch, alarm clock. So we'll sign off now. So thanks so much for watching, people. We greatly appreciate it. And as always, take care and look after yourself. And this has been another Goat Shed presentation.